Which job is a lot less fun than most people expect? Video game tester. You aren't spending your time playing completed, fully realized games. You are playing the same level of a game over and over, seeing if there are bugs. I had a friend who got a job as a tester at Activision. They had him testing interactive Disney storybooks. Video game testing is like prostitution. It's doing something you love in the least fun way possible. Sure, some days it can be great and just like the real thing, but most days it's a huge pain in the ass. Absolutely. My pal Carl did it for a year and he played games like Arkham Knight, and he absolutely hated the job. Wore his love of gaming down to nothing. He quit, gifted me all his game systems, and moved to Sweden. Zookeeper. Don't get me wrong, it's awesome to be around so many amazing animals and care for them, but the smells are ridiculously, insanely foul. I have a really strong stomach, and it's still tough for me. We've had some interns quit over it. I was warned about the smells when getting into the field, but thought, oh, I volunteered at animal shelters. I know what animal stink smells like. Nope, not even close. Which smells the worst? Are there any that don't? Otters. I don't think I know a single person who works with otters who's not bothered by the smell. They are related to ferrets, so they have super strong musk, way stronger than ferrets, and smear it everywhere. They also eat nothing but fish, and you really can smell it in their oily, gooey poop. Big cats. Out in the open, it's not so bad, but I've thrown up in the night house's rain shelters before. Huge 6-pound piles of cat shit all over the floor, with no litter to mask the smell. Unneutered male lions will spray too. Like a cat, one lion makes enough spray to make the whole place smell like a cat hoarder's house. Demolition. Everyone wants to break shit with a sledgehammer. Everyone is tired of lifting that sledgehammer by 5 swings. Nobody wants to load the broken stuff into bags or a wheelbarrow and take it to the dumpster. I always say the more fun it is to go somewhere, the worse it is to work there, like amusement parks and arcades. Honestly, every job that lots of people really want to do sucks, mostly due to supply and demand. You're gonna be treated like shit. And if you complain, you're gonna be fired because you're inherently replaceable. Because there's thousands of people that would love to do your job for even less money than you are making. I was working in an animal shelter. For sure, it's probably less intense than zookeeping, but the amount of people who apply or volunteer expecting to come in and play with cute puppies all day is absurd. We're basically animal maids. You deal with animals of all sorts, of behavioral and developmental stages, shitting and pissing every fucking where. And then you look over and this fucking dog named Chumba swimming in his water bowl. So you gotta fill that up 6 times and dry his kennel out. And then you go and mop up the cat room, around 10 kittens who want to eat your mop, and also 4 children who are all yelling that there's puke in the floor, and I must clean it, now. Not to mention all the extra behind-the-scenes work that the public never sees. How in the summer, during kitten and puppy season, the shelter built to house 500 max has 750, and I didn't take a lunch or sit at all for any of my shifts for the past 6 days. How the courts force us to put down animals that we know can be rehabilitated, but we don't get enough funding to fight it. How animal control just showed up with the 4th pregnant stray of the week, but intake is full and even double stacked in some cases. So your coworker fosters the cats on her own. Not even to mention the shitty fucking people who do dumb shit and end up getting bit or scratched, and the animal is the one who bears those consequences. I am the proudest shelter worker in the world. I adore my job even at its hardest. I didn't sit for 9.5 hours today, and I found a cat turd in the cuff of my jeans. But it doesn't matter because a bonded pair of adult cats got adopted today. I took 6 applications this morning, and the cat in Bank 4 with the goopy eye is already looking better. And we sent a mama out to foster. The hard work is always worth it for these babies. I want to hear more about Chumba. Chumba was this silky-coated black and brown hound mix. He was super gangly and tall, and had these big ol' ears, and was a very good boy, but every fucking day without fail, he'd flip his water bowl, even with no tip bowls. So we have him a heavier, deeper bowl. Every day, at least 4 times a day, Chumba got this enormous heavy-bottom water bowl filled, held close to a gallon of water, weighed about 10 pounds empty, and was too heavy for me to even really lift when full. Oh, thought Chumba. I cannot flip this big bowl. It's too heavy. But Chumba was an innovator. Instead of just flipping the bowl, he said, what if I got rid of the water? Then I would be strong enough to flip it. So there goes Chumba, diving front paws first into the bowl and essentially digging the water out until it was empty enough that he could flip it. He was a big thirsty dork, and I loved him. even though he super annoyed me when he dumped his bowls. Lawyer, no it isn't like they show on TV. Hey, finally the case is before the judge. Crap, the other party didn't show up. The next date that the judge has given is 3 months away. Edit. Need to say a few things. 1, thank you fellow Redditors for the gold and silver. Now I can finally see what our lounge is all about. Now a little bit about me. I am from India and have moved on from litigation to academia. Personally, it was the right decision for me as now I am way less stressed and can work on things that intellectually stimulate me. Having said that, I need to clarify that law is still a very rewarding profession. There is something in it for everyone, for those who want to change the world as well as for those who want to make money. It just demands too much of your time, plus the results of all your efforts are not immediate, and that can get stressful. Also, yes, that song Don't Be a Lawyer by Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is pretty spot on. I have seen this question before, and then it was Zookeeper at the top comment too. Nice. Anyways, there's this making of Frozen 2 mini-docu. Most animators work weeks for a minute of animation of one character, if not less. At one point, they decided to leave out a piece that one person had solely been working on. Must be crappy to be part of the credits without being able to say, "This is my part." Working in a music store, musical instruments, your days are spent listening to 50 different people play 50 different riffs, poorly simultaneously, as if they're all putting on their own concert. Being a character performer at Disney. Don't get me wrong, there are some amazing perks and truly magical moments. I know I'm super lucky and tons of people would love to be in my shoes. But the day-to-day work is exhausting in ways I never thought possible. Guests are ridiculously abusive. I've had things said and done to me I never would have imagined. The company isn't always great. It highly depends on your leadership. And there's so much focus on your body and face, good and bad, that it can be incredibly depressing and difficult emotionally. Plus, you have to accept that there's very little upward mobility. Most people grow out of it, and it's tough to know that one day you'll get too old or too fat, and you will have to start all over in a new career field. So you constantly are thinking either 1, what you're going to do when you leave, 2, how you're going to keep yourself there. I personally knew it would be temporary, and I now only work there seasonally, while I have a normal career. But Disney has a way of sucking you in. Edit. Hey, my first award? Thank you so much. Paleontologist. You don't get to work with full dinosaur skeletons and do all kinds of awesome expeditions. You're mostly sitting at a desk looking at some pictures and logging stuff on your computer, maybe examining a fossil occasionally. If you're lucky, you can go on a real dig and OMG spend hours in the hot sun dusting off rocks. Cybersecurity. Bro, the movies do us no justice. Hacking is not as fast, nor is it as easy as the media makes it. It's a great field, but you spend a lot of time researching or watching paint dry, especially on the EGOV side. Game master at an escape room. It's the same repetitive script, resetting the same stuff, giving clues and hints about the same things. The patrons are often competitive families who argue, obnoxious, impatient 13-year-olds, college students who have been drinking, idiots who break shit and touch shit that I specifically told them not to. They never remember your initial instructions. If something gets broken during one group, you have to hurry and fix it before the next group. The first time I went to an escape room, the guy had an empty booking after us, so we just hung out and chatted for a bit. He told us all about how he researched other escape rooms and got professionals to help him build a story that allowed for fun puzzles too. He told us about how he and his wife went all over the place and on eBay looking for cool props, decorations, and scenery to make the place how they wanted it. He was really excited when he talked about it and said he was looking forward to opening another. The day-to-day might be boring, but the guy 100% loved making the thing in the first place. Working at a Charles Dickens fair is interesting, but not incredibly fun. It is hard to stay in character, and people get so mad when they see the Alice in Wonderland area. Yeah, we know it's not Charles Dickens, but we can't have a kids' play area in the world of Oliver Twist, okay? Google Street View driver. You're all alone for 8+ hours a day, can almost never take a break, need to constantly be on and focused, lest you crash the $25,000 Subaru with $60 plus worth of camera equipment on it. You end up becoming an amateur meteorologist to keep track of weather patterns and cloud cover, and in my experience, there are a lot of people who just get insanely upset at you, at Google, and the job in general for a wide variety of reasons. I enjoyed myself when I did it, but it was nowhere near as glamorous or fun as my friends and family assumed. Edit. Thanks to everyone who expressed an interest in my summer job almost 10 years ago. I'll just answer the most asked questions here real quick. Pay? $15 an hour, but contingent on hours driven, which were themselves dependent on clear weather to ensure optimal image quality. Why not drive every day, no matter the weather? Google got around this problem by making you redrive routes whose pictures turned out subpar. To prevent people from double billing by driving the same easy route constantly, you also had a weekly quota of unique miles driven, so no double dipping. What could you do in the car? As long as the camera and the napping software, edit mapping software, thanks for the heads up, were running properly, I was on my own. I listened to music, the news, and lots of books on tape. I could stop for short bathroom breaks whenever I felt like it, and had an hour guaranteed for lunch whenever I wanted to take it, which usually amounted to eating in the car on the side of some lonely rural road 90% of the time. Who would ever think this was fun or glamorous? All I can say is, back in 2012, most people I talked to were pretty excited, myself included, about getting the chance to do any work with Google, let alone this cool new project that would let you see what any place on Earth looked like at street level from the comfort of home. This was the era of Google Plus being a potentially exciting new thing, of Google Glass being the future of tech, and overall it was a different time. That's why everyone I knew thought this was a cool gig.